granting sole source contracts for goods and services needed by the city. Follow up, is there a specific maximum dollar level above which any contract should always be subject to the RFP process?
You know, I don't know if I'm completely familiar with all of those terms, and so I don't want to just start rambling on. But will you read me the first part of the question again?
What is your general view on the granting of sole source contracts for goods and services needed by the city?
Generally, I'm not in favor of that. I think most things should be put out to bid. I think there's arguments to be made, and I can't tell you that I'm the most well-schooled person on this side of town in terms of what those arguments are from those different sides. Again, I think it boils down to if you've got a business background and you know how to work a calculator and you know how to run a company and a budget and make ends meet in the private sector, that generally suggests that you'll be decent at it in the public sector. But I think most things should be put out to bid, and I would be reluctant to encourage or vote or support anything that wasn't the case. And you said, what is the dollar figure? I mean, I think really it's not so much. I think just about everything should be put out to bid. I think that's the way I would do if this was my air conditioning business. We were trying to make a decision about who we were going to have build add an addition on 5,000 square feet. We're going to get a couple prices, and that's the way the city government should be run, just like a business. Sound business decisions. Let's get prices and make a sound decision with the numbers on the table.
Okay. What would you do if elected to encourage transparency in city council operations, government operations generally, public access to the government, and public participation in legislative process?
I'll tell you what I want to do once elected. I want to identify a place, and I want it to be a consistent place, and probably a church or some type of civic association. As a councilman, I want to go to the community on a monthly basis, just like you do if you have your Thursday night poker game or whatever it would be. I want to routinely send a message to the community that, hey, the third Thursday of every month or the second Tuesday of every month, whatever it would be, is one of your 6 city councilmen, which I hopefully will be one of those, is going to be at this area, and he's going to be available to you from 7 to 10 to hear from you, because I think the citizens of Jacksonville have a lot of good ideas, and last time I checked, most of those guys showing up at City Hall, wanting to voice their opinion, they weren't asking for a check, they weren't asking to be paid or compensated for what they had to say. And so I think that the answer is to put the city councilman back into the community, not necessarily tell the community they've got to come down to City Hall, but put the city councilman back out in the community to talk with the citizens, give maybe a 10-minute update. Hey, here's what's new in city government. What are your questions? What are your concerns? And let me hear from you. And then, take those ideas and those suggestions back to the office and take those into consideration in making what you think is the right decisions for the city of Jacksonville.
And Victor?
All right. What distinguishes you from your opponents that specifically makes you, and not them, the right choice for the voters in your race?
It's very easy. My business background. These 4 different corporations that I've run, it's hard to interview and not brag about yourself or boast, but everything that I've done since graduating from law school, every business endeavor I've gotten into has been successful. If you look into whether or not it's my air conditioning business or my law firm, my private investigative agency, they've been profitable, they've been successful. None of them have advertised. It's all word of mouth. Treat the clients that you do have well. Give them a quality service for a fair price, and let them be your advertisement. You look in the phone book. I'm not on the front page, the back page, nowhere in between. I mean, maybe I have my name and phone number next to it in any of my companies. I've had tremendous success. I know what it's like to deal with employees. I know what it's like to deal with unions. I know what it's like to look at someone in the eye and not necessarily say, hey, I want to let you go, but I just can't afford to pay you what I paid you last year when in 2008 or 2009 when the market was wide open. I want to keep you, but these are the numbers, and this is why. The business background, having had success in the private sector, I would suggest would again become a resume or a pedigree to suggest that I would be a good city councilman. The others in my race simply just don't have that background, and are going to be starstruck and are going to be like, you know, deer in headlights, I believe, when faced with some of these challenges that the city budget and city politics is going to force upon them. Again, also integrity. I've spent, you know, my entire life doing things right, doing things the right way, and based my decisions on based, you know, my company's profitability and advertisement on integrity, word of mouth, and doing the right thing by people. And I think that, again, that same skill set taken to the private sector. Well, I've got to be honest, I've never run $1 billion budget before, but I think that having done it in the private sector suggests I can do it in the public sector.
All right. And assuming that concerned taxpayers of Duval County were to officially endorse you, what actions, if any, would you take to inform the electorate of that fact?
Well, that's a good question, and I was thinking about this. I would be proud of that. That would mean a lot to me. I would put that on my materials in terms of my mail-out campaign. And pretty much any time we tried to advertise, for lack of a better word, David Taylor, I would try to include that on just about any material that we had. I will tell you this, you know, my opinion, I think you guys should push forward. And I know it's tough you don't want to start interview everybody on the planet. You want to wait till after qualifying's ended. But you know, I sent out a mail piece today to everyone that's getting a ballot that's overseas. Your endorsement is not on there. The North Florida Realtors is not on there on what I sent out because I don't have your endorsement. May never have it. If I do, I don't have it yet. The Realtors endorsement, don't have it yet. I have received the manufacturer's endorsement, but didn't have it in time to include it in my mail piece. And so I think you, as an organization, I like what you guys do, and I say this in terms of, you know, friendly advice, but I think you ought to move your interviews up a little bit and make decisions and endorse the right candidate early on, so that candidate can boast that endorsement if they're proud of it. But in time for it to make mail pieces, in time for it to make campaign material, so that your organization's name is out there. I've been interviewed by 7 different organizations: police, fire, the builders, Northeast Florida Builders Association, Chamber of Commerce, Jack's Biz. To my knowledge, 6 of the 7, now 8, have made decisions, and all 6 of those have endorsed me. I'm proud of that, and I believe that, again, police, fire, builders, I haven't promised anyone anything other than I would take my business skills that I've developed in the private sector to work for the city of Jacksonville. And so, you know, again, 6 for 6 in terms of endorsements. This endorsement would mean a lot to me because this is where I'm at. This is where I come from at the heart. There's less taxes, less bureaucracy, less red tape. And I only wish that not only to be endorsed by you guys, and ladies, but to have had it sooner so that I could brag about it a little more, if given the opportunity.